Welcome to another episode of Expand into Possibility, my loves. As you know, I'm an intuitive healer and spiritual teacher, and I have always been fascinated with the journey of our souls, why we're here, what is the purpose of everything, where do we come from, where do we go. And when I'm doing intuitive reads for my clients, and I get to the root cause of the obstacles that they are experiencing, whether that's a body illness or a financial block or a relationship conflict. A lot of those are coming from something that they experienced in relationships, whether from their parents, resentments that they're holding, all the emotions that they didn't process in their body, a self image with a false story that is holding them back. And a lot of these are related to having a false misconception of the purpose of relationships in our lives. So today I am here to bring you the 10 spiritual facts that will change how you look at relationships so that you can heal your heart from the past, have a better understanding of why situations happen in your life and their purpose, and what to do so that you can open your heart fully to experience the most beautiful romance and the most beautiful relationships in your life. I have a partner who has been a beautiful reflection of all the love that I've been giving to myself and all the inner work that I have been doing. And I wish this for everyone, so let's dive in. And this whole red theme going on is an honor and celebration of the launch of the Magnetic Love Academy, my loves, that starts in May. Enrollment is now open. And I'm so excited that it has gotten a huge upgrade and it's now a whole year. Imagine, my loves, with all the transformations that have already happened in my relationship courses of 8 weeks and 3 months. Imagine what's possible for us in a year in this energy. And this is not just another course, my loves. This is a love revolution, the divine feminine rising. This is true woman empowerment, where you get to understand the laws of the universe, understand the soul purpose of everything, and get empowered with tools that are effective in healing your heart, reprogramming your brain to receive the highest levels of love, respect, kindness, and everything that your heart desires. This is a new era featuring you. Are you ready? I'm going to leave the link below with all the details for you to join. I have a general admission and a VIP option. And the general admission is where we're going to be having the live workshops every month with the theme, with energetic healings, with Q&A. You're also going to have a library of 12 plus modules of content, from healing your self-worth, protecting your energy, mastering your emotions, how to manifest, how to overcome reflections, and all the laws of the universe. So you have that library plus the live workshops every month with a new theme and a community of like-minded beautiful souls on the same journey. And I have a VIP option for you where you get all of that plus an extra class where you're going to come and get intuitive reads to overcome your obstacles and your reflections that come up along the way. I prepared this sanctuary, my loves, for you to be fully supported in this journey so that you live your life in your highest levels of joy, so that you understand the purpose of the things that you are facing in your life. And it not only brings a whole new perspective, but tools for healing and reprogramming your energy so that you attract what you desire and deserve. Are you ready? Click the link below, choose the option that most resonates with your hearts, and I'll see you inside. Now, let's dive in. The 10 spiritual facts that will change how you look at relationships. And once I dive into these, my loves, take what resonates. And if something doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. Let it go, okay? Let's dive in. Here are 10 spiritual facts that would change how you look at relationships. Number one, you chose your parents before you were born because they were the perfect people for your main soul lessons in this lifetime. And we don't only choose our parents, we choose everything about ourselves. The place that we were born, the people that we connect to in our early years, the culture that shapes who we are, the school that we go to. We choose our attributes, our personality traits. We choose everything that will give us the perfect experience for the lessons that we chose to come in and master in this lifetime. So when we have expectations of what we should receive from our loved ones, from the people who raised us, that's when we can build a lot of resentment. But when we start to see the actual purpose of choosing our parents, choosing the place that we were born, and we start to expand the awareness to the lessons that those situations were able to provide for us, including our traumas, including the things that we went through that caused a big heartbreak. All those things were shaping exactly who we are today, and there's a bigger purpose of choosing that. Some of us chose our parents to master forgiveness in this life, or to master seeing our own value, our own worthiness, our own love. Because when we don't get those externally, especially from the people that we would expect the most, we have no choice but to awaken those within. And that's when we tap into the true source of love, of unconditional worthiness within ourselves, and it guides us to our connection with our higher self. So once we expand the awareness to the bigger purpose of why we're here, why we chose our parents, and what the whole experience that we had growing up provided for us in terms of soul lessons, then we start to heal, we start to release resentment, we start to look at them with more compassion, with more love, and not with the failed expectations, but rather that unconditional love, knowing that there was a bigger purpose for everything that you experienced from choosing the parents that you did. And you may be wondering, but Julie, what about the people who were adopted, or the people who never met their parents, or the people who their parents died at a young age? Even that was chosen for a purpose, because those would give a set of experiences, unique experiences that they will walk through to master the soul lessons that they chose in this life. But Julie, what about kids where they were left by their parents, or they were abused by their parents? Even that has a purpose, my loves. And I know this one is the hardest to hear and understand, especially when we're talking about children, but it's because there is a bigger purpose in the things that we choose to come here and master. And sometimes going through a very specific trauma will give you the awakening for something that you're going to do and become in this life. A lot of people that go through trauma and they heal it, and now they are the ones changing the world. So there is a bigger purpose that goes beyond what our human brain, with so much compassion, would wish for everyone. There's a bigger purpose of all of those things, and we don't choose experience based on happiness. This is such a big misconception in regards to earth and in regards to relationship. We do not choose experiences based on happiness. We choose experiences based on growth, soul growth. So even when we're struggling and going through very difficult situations on earth, our higher self, our soul, is still gaining an immense amount of expansion. So it's still on the positive. It's just our human perspective that is limited to what we are seeing and perceives everything to be negative. But when we dive into the immense amount of soul lessons that someone is gaining through the struggles, through the hardships, and what they will transform that pain into in the future, then we start to see how there's a divine purpose for everything, and there's a higher purpose for being here than just receiving everything that we want at all times and everything going well. Spiritual fact about relationships number 2. Everyone who crosses your path is either a mirror, a teacher, or an expander. There are no coincidences. Every person that we meet has a divine purpose, and it was brought into our field through alignment to show us something, to teach us something, to expand us into possibility. So we have the people who are going to mirror back exactly our fears, our thoughts out loud, our limitations, and show us where we are at so that we can look within and heal. And there are the people who are going to come in and teach us things, whether that's in a mentor position or simply through showing us what we don't want so that we can make better choices. And we have our expanders who are going to redefine what's possible for us, open our minds, our awareness, our experiences, really show what's possible that was beyond what our brain could perceive before meeting them. So everyone comes into our life with a purpose. There are no coincidences. Number 3, the people who trigger you are helping you heal. You wouldn't know where you're not yet free if it wasn't for them. And this is the biggest misunderstanding when it comes to family dynamics and romantic relationships. A lot of people feel that when they're getting triggered, they're in a toxic relationship, and what they need to do is walk away, separate themselves from that shenanigans, that activity that they don't want to relate with, and blame the other person, and only feel comfortable where they're surrounded by like-minded people, where they can experience all that love and light situation. And this is the biggest cause of separation in families, like people that cannot feel safe and comfortable going to spend holidays with family, or that keep walking out of relationships because they keep getting triggered, they keep getting into arguments, and they cannot find that peace and receive the love that they deserve and they want. And it's because of the misunderstanding in this. The person that is triggering you is shining a light on an aspect of ourselves that is ready to be healed. So for example, when you're in a relationship and your partner made you feel rejected for whatever they're doing, maybe they're on their phone, maybe they are just not paying attention to you all day, and that made you feel rejected or abandoned or disrespected, whatever your trigger feeling was, they are showing the feelings that are already there. The feelings that in some area of your life you're either treating yourself that same way, or that you've been bringing this false narrative since childhood, and you keep recreating those situations in your life, and that is simply triggering for you to look at so that you can bring to your awareness so that you can heal. And once you find the core, the root cause of that wound, and you shift that from within, you're going to see the shift in that person, because the person that's triggering you, it's not out of just torturing you, and the purpose is not just for you to feel your self-love and walk away, like, oh, I'm not gonna stay in this situation, but it's for you to actually look within and see what that trigger is showing you. There is a false self-love empowerment where we feel empowered by walking out, but it's actually by looking within before walking out. If so, because when you change within, you're going to transform that relationship as well. So the true self-love empowerment is when you get triggered and you face yourself. You're not running away from yourself. You're able to look at what's being reflected to you and love yourself unconditionally in the shadows that trigger is showing you about yourself. So true self-love is really leaning into this unconditional love when things are being reflected to you. And by facing the triggers and changing the way that we've been treating ourselves from within, healing the root cause of those triggers, that's when we're finally free from those repetitive patterns, from attracting people that are rejecting us or abandoning us or disrespecting us or criticizing us, whatever it is, because there is that wound ready to be healed, and the only way to be free from it is look at the core and heal from the root cause, so then the entire reality can mirror back that new unconditional love that we're having for ourselves. Which then leads us to this spiritual fact about relationships. Number 4, people will treat you how you treat yourself. And immediately I understand you are going to feel that you're not treating yourself or anyone the way that maybe there is that villain person in your life treating you. But hear me out. We have 8 areas in our life. If we're treating ourselves with disrespect, with being hard on ourselves, being rude to ourselves, being critical to ourselves in some area of our life, including in our self-talk, we cannot fake energy, my loves. It will be reflected through someone in our lives treating ourselves that same way. And this is where it gets tricky. It's because sometimes we will receive something from someone that we are just giving love to that person, and you won't understand, because according to the law of attraction, we're supposed to receive what we give, and here we are giving all our love to that person and receiving criticism. So it can be confusing, but that's because there is the law of reflection. It's not just the love that we give to other people that we are going to receive. It's the love that we give to ourselves, and in all areas of life. Maybe you are giving yourself love, being proud of yourself in regards to the relationship. You're super proud in the way that you are behaving. But when it comes to career, maybe you're being super critical of yourself, and that person will reflect that criticism so that you can look at where you're being critical of yourself and implement a more loving self-talk, so that you actually open your path to receive the things that you're trying to manifest. Because when we're trying to manifest something and there's a part of us who's not in alignment to receive, the universe will show us, and it will show through other people, through those reflections. So everything that we are attracting right now is a mirror and a tool for us to see what is actually holding us back from the things that we want. So if you've been trying to manifest career, it's like an expansion in your career, and you have a friend or a partner or a family member being critical of you, you now know that you have been criticizing yourself, that maybe you don't feel good enough. And those are the wounds, the false stories that you get to heal about yourself, so that you expand in that area. The same when it comes to wanting to manifest relationship. You're here consciously saying, I want a relationship. But if there's a part of you who has beliefs of it is not safe to be in a relationship will be in the way of my career, and you love your career is flowing, and you don't want anything to get in the way of that, then you're consciously saying that you want to manifest a relationship, but you're blocking yourself because you are acting through those false thoughts and fears, and that's going to reflect as not attracting someone who is emotionally available. But that's just a reflection. It is just a mirror showing you the parts of yourself that you get to heal, so that you unblock yourself and you release everything that is standing in the way from the things that you want. And the same thing with our body. Our body will show us where we're out of harmony, where we are holding on to resentment, where we are holding on to dense emotions. It will show us through illness, my loves. It is all a reflection of how we've been treating ourselves, and the emotions that we are holding, and the perspectives that we are carrying in regards to how we see the world, how we see ourselves, and how we see our life. It is all leading us to go to that place of unconditional love, but it takes us to see it through this new perspective so that we can welcome the triggers as a positive thing instead of running away when things get difficult in relationships, and knowing that when we walk away, we're actually walking away from ourselves. Spiritual fact about relationships number 5. Heartbreaks are the best heart openers and one of the fastest ways to connect to our higher self. And that is because a lot of our wants and desires and the things that we are even wanting to manifest and experience in our life and in relationships, they're coming from ego. They're coming for us to fill a void. They're coming from a lack of wanting to feel special, wanting that person to validate us, wanting to receive recognition. So everything that we aren't feeling about ourselves, we are going to want to get from that relationship. And when we're trying to manifest and bring things in through an energy of lack, we are going to be disappointed because that relationship will not fulfill our needs, because this is something that can only be gotten from within. And for as long as we try to get validation, recognition, love, whatever it is, from an external source, the partner or someone that's going to not deliver that to us and break our heart and leave us in disappointment, in frustration, in that sense of hopelessness, that's when we wake up to the purpose of it and how we can't receive anything from outside. That's when we truly connect to the source, which is within. The source is in our heart. So when we're going through a heartbreak because we expected that person to bring us what we were this whole time just searching from within, when we go through that heartbreak and we don't receive what we wanted from that person, we have no choice but to look within, and that's when we find it, my loves. That's when we find it. I remember after my last relationship and this relationship, I was single for 4 years, and this whole time there was a lot of disappointment with the people that I was meeting. It was just like not the vibe. And this whole thing just led me to find all the things within myself. It led me to be in Indonesia for a few months, finding that beautiful feminine energy that I got to integrate. It led me to traveling the world on my own and meeting with friends along the way too, but finding those pieces within, becoming whole and complete, finding all the things that I felt were lacking, that I needed to get from a relationship. It took me to give myself everything that I was looking for my partner to come and literally knock on my door. But I attracted that because I stopped looking outside for the love, for the validation, for the recognition, for the attention, for someone to be emotionally available and commit, right? And I started committing to myself, being emotionally available in my heart, in the way that I was perceiving life, in the way that I was nurturing myself, in the way that I was able to enjoy my own company and genuinely feel whole and complete. That was only possible because of all the disappointments that I experienced in relationship, of not receiving what I was looking for, right? And that's where, when we go through heartbreaks and disappointments, those situations are just leading us to find ourselves, to connect to the true source, which is in us, because the truth is we are whole and complete. And everything that we perceive ourselves to be in a place of lack, those are false stories. Those are things that we get to reprogram in our energy. We have this beautiful electromagnetic field, a creator field that resonates all our thoughts, all our feelings, and we get to reprogram with new thoughts, new feelings, new beliefs that are going to attract the love that we deserve, my loves. And this is exactly what I teach you inside the Magnetic Love Academy. I cannot wait. Come, it is magical. We start in May. Okay. Spiritual fact number 6. When we walk away from a relationship without learning the lesson from it, we recreate the same lesson in a different scenario, meaning in a different person. We keep meeting the same person in a different body. And even if you close your heart for relationships, you're going to manifest that same lesson through a co-worker, through a family member, through a friend. We cannot run away from our soul lessons because that's literally the purpose of the relationships in the first place. So when we don't master a lesson in the relationship and we think walking away will solve it, we tend to meet the same person doing the same thing, awakening the same feelings. Let's say, for example, you always meet people who don't give you back the same amount of love you give. You're always the giver. You give, and then they don't reciprocate. Reciprocate. Language barrier. And then they don't reciprocate. Oh my goodness, they don't give you back. And you're the giver, but they don't give back to you all the love, attention that you're giving them. You're prioritizing them and they're not prioritizing you. And you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to walk out and go find someone who values me. But here's the trick. That wasn't just happening because it was a random person who wasn't valuing you. They were a mirror of something for you to look within yourself and start valuing yourself and start prioritizing yourself. And that is the only way of being a priority in someone's life. So if you walk out of that relationship because that partner wasn't prioritizing you and you don't understand the soul lesson and you go out of that relationship, you're going to meet another person who's not going to prioritize you. And then you walk away again, and then you meet another person that makes you feel the exact same way. And if you eventually give up and close your heart because you start to have this belief that there's no one good enough, no one is worthy of your energy, you eventually close your heart. But then what happens? Then you attract someone at work not prioritizing you, some family member not prioritizing you, a friend not prioritizing you, and then eventually you just want to isolate yourself and leave the human experience, go away to meditate in the mountains and not deal with another human a day in your life. And it's all because of not understanding why that was happening in the first place. And this is the power, my loves, of intuitively getting to the root cause of why you're experiencing something in your life, because there's always a purpose and it's always a mirror of something that you get to look within and heal and release, so that you actually attract someone who is going to prioritize you, who is going to treat you with love, with kindness and appreciation, and give to you the amount of love that you so loving give to others. Spiritual fact about relationships number 7. The sole purpose of relationships is to assist us in our next steps of healing. It is not to complete us. It is not to make us happy. And a lot of times we feel there is this soulmate that we are going to meet and live happily ever after. Thank you, Disney. And in fact, my loves, we have a few possible soulmate situations because it takes us to be in alignment with that person for us to meet at the right time. So there are a few possible options over there, and the purpose of even having a soulmate is not to make you happy. It is not, oh, the person that will think exactly like you and do the same things that you do. The purpose is they are the perfect mirror to reflect the parts of yourself that need healing, that you get to release and expand. So going into a relationship expecting your partner to make you happy will leave you extremely frustrated, because the main purpose is teaching. The main purpose is to help us evolve, is to help us see our next steps of healing. And of course, we get to be happy in relationships, but it takes us to see the meaning of the triggers, the meaning why we feel so annoyed at that person sometimes, why they awaken the darkest emotions that we have ever experienced. There's a purpose to it. And if we expect the peace, the harmony, the butterflies and rainbows 100% of the time, and then we think we're in a toxic relationship if we're not experiencing that, we are constantly going to love an illusion of what a healthy relationship is supposed to look like. So once we truly understand that the sole purpose of relationships is number one, to teach, to reflect, to be a mirror of the parts of ourselves that we get to love unconditionally. Once we understand that, then we can look at our partner with a different perspective, with more compassion, with a more with an open heart, and release resentment and not take anything personally, because truly everything that is being triggered, everything that is being reflected, it is for us. And it's only by looking within that we can find the harmony back, that we can ignite the passion back. We have to look at ourselves. As long as we are blaming them for the things that we are feeling and hold resentment and continue to feel that they are making us feel the way that we are feeling, instead of seeing that they are awakening feelings that we're already there and treating us in ways that we are already treating ourselves in an area of our life, it's not until then that we can actually be happy in relationships. So it takes us to see and understand the true purpose of relationships so that we can be in the healthiest and most fulfilling relationship, not only romantically but socially and with our family, so that we can go spend time with our family without feeling threatened, without feeling that we can't have harmony or a good time, and understand that everything that comes up is a gift. Everything that comes up is teaching us something about ourselves that we get to love, that we get to accept, that we get to transform and alchemize into wisdom. And understanding this is the core for you to also not isolate yourself. I see so many high frequency, powerful spiritual souls who want to isolate themselves because they cannot relate to low frequency energy, or when people aren't perceiving them, understanding them, and they feel that they don't belong, they feel they don't resonate or relate to anyone around them, and they tend to want to isolate themselves, when actually we're not meant to isolate themselves. When we awaken spiritually, we're meant to immerse ourselves even more in the human experience and see the gift that everyone brings to us, and really see them as a teacher, as a mirror, and open our hearts with compassion and the wisdom of not taking things personally and taking responsibility of our emotions, learning how to process our emotions and how to understand what exactly that person is showing us to heal. This is when we awaken our deepest levels of open heart, where we are able to heal our body from any dense feelings that we are holding on, and when we're able to have the best time regardless of who we are with, because we know that everyone has a specific gift for us. Every encounter has a purpose. Spiritual fact number 8. There are about 50 people in your life that you keep reincarnating together, playing different roles. And sometimes that looks like father-daughter, that looks like sister and brother, that looks like husband and wife, or peanut butter and jelly. Whatever relationship you are experiencing right now, you may feel a deep connection with your friends, with your family, with specific people that you cannot understand why you resonate so much when you meet them. That is your soul family. Those are the people who sign the contracts with you before coming to earth, and you choose to encounter in the dynamic that will serve you the highest in each lifetime, and the dynamics will change, but the core essence of the souls stay the same. So you may feel a huge connection, you feel at home with some people, or there are also some of them that trigger feelings that you cannot explain, but those were predetermined contracts in your life for you to experience those exact feelings and master the soul lessons that you need to accomplish. And the encounters within these 50 people that feel are not positive, they're not out of karma, like something they did to them and now you're just receiving it back out of punishment. Punishment does not exist. When we have relationships that are very difficult and they're awakening very dark feelings, those are opportunities to master a lesson that we haven't before, including forgiveness, including patience, including unconditional love, and so many others. But it's not a punishment. And a lot of times when we are in a difficult dynamic with a person that just makes our life difficult, we tend to look at it as like, oh, it's a karma, because so many people have like a loving ex-partner or a loving parent, a loving family, and here I am dealing with all this drama you may feel, and it's not out of punishment. It's simply an opportunity to integrate lessons that weren't integrated in a past life. So looking at the difficult situation and seeing, what is this teaching me? What is this allowing me to integrate? What this story that is being played in my reality tells me about the thoughts of what I believe to be true about myself, because everything will mirror what we believe to be true, the way that we treat ourselves, everything that is in our field. So we can shift even the most difficult situations in our life by asking ourselves, what is this teaching me? What is this situation allowing me to learn about myself? What is this guiding me to reprogram in my subconscious mind? What do I need to heal from the past? So when you're experiencing difficult conflicts, that's when you look even deeper within so that you can shift that dynamic, because that dynamic is there not to punish you, but to give you an opportunity to integrate a soul lesson. And there's always a solution, my loves. There's always a solution. Relationship fact number 9. The people who hurt you the most in this lifetime are most likely your best friends on the other side, and they are playing the villain role for you in this life, for you to go through the experiences that will best serve your soul evolution in a pre-agreement, a contract that both of you signed prior coming here to earth. And again, we don't choose our experiences for happiness, my loves. We choose the experiences that we sign the contracts in the circumstances that will most awaken the evolution that we came here, the wisdom that we came here to master. So imagine we're in a Truman Show and the people around us are playing roles, providing things that we get to experience. So the traumas that we faced, the people who caused like a huge pain in our life, something that we went through, those people, they are not necessarily a random person doing evil in the world, but they are someone who volunteered, a soul who volunteered to play the villain role for you so that you could have those experiences. And the reason why we choose to go through these experiences with people that we love so much on the other side is because when we cross over and we have the full memory, then our heart immediately expands in gratitude for the whole experience, and we see the whole thing as a play, as a big opportunity for soul growth. And it's less about our perspective of victimhood that we have here on earth, but it's the celebration of, wow, I was able to awaken so much self-love because of that trauma that you caused me. And it's like both friends celebrating together on a soul level. And of course, when we're going through the human experience, we feel much different about it. But that's why we choose the people that we trust most on a soul level, because there is that underlying feeling that our soul knows that we are still safe even if we are experiencing horrible things on earth. There is a sense of being taken care of on a soul level, and when we cross over and we awaken our memory to that, then it is such a beautiful feeling, and the wisdom is so beautifully integrated, and we feel so much gratitude for that person. And maybe we're the ones who are going to volunteer for them next time, who knows? For example, if you chose in this lifetime to make a huge impact on earth, to help people heal, to help people step into their purpose, and you need to go through a big event like a shift in your life of a heartbreak, or someone disappointing you, or a trauma that you experience, you need to go through that to awaken to who you truly are, to then step into your purpose. Then that person is going to play that role for you. Because when we are born into everything flowing, everything going well, and we don't experience any challenge, any trauma, nothing, we're most likely not going to have our beautiful butterfly wings fully open and powerful in, and have that bravery, that courage that it takes to even show up in our purpose. So our soul knows better, our higher self knows better, and everything that we go through has a purpose that we're meant to overcome, we're meant to heal. And healing it, seeing through a different perspective, is actually the key that's going to allow so much light in our heart, and it's going to make us the person who is actually going to make those big changes in the world. Spiritual fact about relationship number 10. The people who trigger you the most are mirroring aspects of yourself that you're either denying or that you haven't yet learned to love. It is bringing balance into your perspective so that you shift to a new perspective of love. So let's say if you're judging someone, criticizing someone, something that you cannot stand, something you're like, I would never do that, you're creating a separation. There is an imbalance in your perspective, because there is a oneness in this world, and there is a positive and a negative in everything. And when we are only seeing the negative in a situation and deeming something to be only bad, then we are going to feel really triggered until we learn to love and accept that thing that we are judging. So everyone that is deeply triggering us, including something that mirrors our beliefs, something that threatens our identity, or something specific about a certain group of people that we cannot accept, all those big triggers, they're showing us where we're out of love. And it's a beautiful message of the universe mirroring where we are out of love, so that we can bring love to our perspective, so that we can start to see life through its perfection again, knowing that there is positive and negative. This is a polarity planet. There is not light without darkness, and we need to see both in each situation for us to be at this perfect perspective of love. So every time we're out of love in what we are seeing, we're going to be massively triggered, so that we change our perspective and learn to love, understanding that even if someone is doing something that we extremely criticize, for us to see that given the specific circumstances, maybe if we were born in the same circumstances that that person was born into, maybe we would be doing the same thing. So instead of going to that place, I would never accept that, I would never do that, it's opening our heart to compassion. And compassion does not mean accepting, saying, oh, this is right, but it means seeing without judging, and simply having compassion in the heart, knowing that in the right circumstances, everyone could be capable of anything because we are human and we hold the ability to have all the attributes. And what makes us a good person or a bad person is in the decisions that we are making. But if we were programmed in extremely low levels of self-love or in extreme toxic environment, we are going to awaken certain aspects of the human nature that maybe when we see someone going through that, we're like, okay, this is not acceptable. But instead of judging, how can we look at that with eyes of love? And that's all that is. When there's something that is extremely triggering to you, it is showing you to open your heart with compassion and not position yourself as better than, and like comparing, but positioning yourself as better than and that person less than for their behavior, but rather come into the divine perspective that every single person holds the same value in the eyes of Source, in the eyes of God. And we choose different experiences in this life, and no path is better or worse than the other. It's just different, providing unique experiences for each person's evolution. But when we see something that we don't agree with, if we go to that place of, I would never do that, and we think we are better for not behaving in such way, then our perspective is imbalanced. We are in that moment out of love. So those situations will keep showing up and will continue to trigger us with like a massive amount of emotions until we are able to see through a different perspective. And instead of judging, awakening compassion in our heart and seeing the positive and the negative, and really showing love through not criticizing, but rather sending compassion for whatever we are seeing. So every experience that trigger us so much, it is teaching us to calibrate our beautiful perspective back to unconditional love. And feeling unconditional love doesn't mean unconditionally accepting everything and staying in situations where you don't agree with what's happening, but it means going to the place of having compassion, and when you walk out of the situation, going to this place of, okay, if I were in the same circumstances that they were, maybe I would be doing the same thing, but without the judgment of a feeling that you are better than someone, because in that moment you're making healthier choices or more empowered choices. So really seeing each person as divine and honoring their path, knowing that their path is as divine as yours and they hold the same value in the eyes of Source, of God. And it's just our perception and our spiritual ego that makes us feel above someone when we are making more empowered choices or healthier choices. But every person will go through exactly what they need to experience, and sometimes in order for them to achieve the wisdom that they chose in this lifetime, they will go through some unhealthy situations or experience some things that we feel are not empowering, but that's okay because it's their path and it's not up to us to judge. And when we get to this place of honoring people's journeys, then we are not only not holding resentment, not disconnecting ourselves from the person, not becoming critical and judgmental, but we are also awakening our deepest levels of love, compassion, and kindness. And this, my loves, is the energy that changes everything. And we talk so much about like, how do we change the world? How do we bring more love to this world? This is how it is truly awakening that in us. And it's not about being perfect, but it's about recognizing that everything that's triggering us is bringing awareness to an imbalanced perspective that we get to heal, we get to shift, we get to look within and bring ourselves back to love. All right, my loves, let me know which of the 10 spiritual facts about relationships was your favorite one, and check out the link for the Magnetic Love Academy, my signature program that's going to empower you in all your relationship dynamics, awakening the sacred family union, your romantic divine union, your perfect health, your soulmate clients, and all the beautiful connections that we love and deserve to experience. So check the link and I will see you inside.